There's always a moment in life when self-doubt quietly walks in. It doesn't knock. It doesn't announce itself. It simply slips into your mind, usually at a time when you're dreaming big, standing at the edge of something new, or pushing yourself into unfamiliar territory. For many people, this moment feels ordinary, but it shapes everything that comes afterward. Imagine this: you're sitting in a classroom, a meeting, or even alone in your room. You think about starting something, maybe speaking up, applying for a job, showing your talent, or finally doing the thing you've always avoided. But before the thought even takes shape, a small voice whispers, "What if you fail?" Another voice adds, "You're not good enough." This is the moment self-doubt begins. It doesn't start with failure. It doesn't start with mistakes. It starts with fear of trying. In the UK, the US, and almost everywhere in the world, people grow up believing confidence is something you're born with. But here's the truth. Nobody is confident at the beginning. Confidence is not natural, it is practiced. And self-doubt is not a sign of weakness. It is simply a sign that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Self-doubt often appears right at the point where your life could dramatically improve. It shows up when you want to change jobs, start a business, speak in public, or take responsibility for your future. It's like a barrier between where you are and where you want to be. Some people stop there, others push through. The moment you recognize that self-doubt is just a reaction, not a reality, a new version of you begins to form. Confidence does not start when you win. It starts right here, when you choose to move forward even though your mind is filled with uncertainty. This moment doesn't define your capability. It defines your beginning. Most people grow up believing that confidence is something a person is either born with or not. They look at someone who speaks boldly, stands tall, or makes brave decisions and assume that's just who they are. But that idea is not only wrong, it is the biggest barrier stopping people from ever becoming confident. Confidence is not a personality trait. It is a learned skill, built through repetition, exposure, and intentional action. Think about a child learning to walk. The child falls hundreds of times. No one calls them unconfident. No one says, walking just isn't their personality. Everyone understands that the child needs time, experience, and tiny wins to gain balance and strength. Confidence in life works exactly the same way. In the UK, US, and most Western cultures, people admire those who speak clearly, take risks, and pursue big dreams. But what most people don't see is the hidden work behind that confidence. The failures, the fear, the moments of doubt, the late-night overthinking. Confident people aren't fearless. They've just learned to move forward despite the fear. Personality is what you're naturally comfortable with. Confidence is what you train yourself to become comfortable with. A shy person can become confident. A quiet person can become influential. A nervous person can become bold. Because confidence is not about volume. It's about belief. And belief is built through evidence. Evidence that you can survive embarrassment, recover from mistakes, speak even when unsure, and try again after failure. Every time you take a small action your mind wasn't expecting, you create proof that you're capable. This proof becomes strength, and that strength becomes confidence. The most powerful shift happens when you stop seeing confidence as a personality and start seeing it as a muscle. A muscle grows only when challenged, and the more you challenge it, the stronger it becomes. You're not lacking confidence. You're lacking practice and PR. Every person carries a story in their mind, a private script that plays quietly in the background of their life. Most people don't realize it, but this inner story shapes how they walk, talk, think, decide, and even dream. And the shocking truth is, lack of confidence rarely comes from the world outside. It comes from the story you keep repeating inside your own head. Imagine waking up each day with a silent narrator following you around. Sometimes it's supportive. You can do this. But most of the time, for most people, it sounds more like, you're not ready. People will judge you. You always mess things up. Why would anyone listen to you? And without noticing, you start living according to the script, limiting yourself not because you can't do something, but because your mind has convinced you that you shouldn't even try. In the UK and US, people often appear confident on the outside while fighting battles on the inside. They post polished photos, celebrate achievements, smile in public. But when their mind is quiet, the secret narrative takes over again. This hidden story becomes the biggest enemy of confidence. Not the world, not other people, not circumstances. Here's the life-changing truth. Your confidence is controlled by the story you choose to believe. The story doesn't have to be true to affect you. It only has to be repeated. The more you tell yourself you're not enough, the more your brain accepts it as fact. The more you tell yourself you're capable, the more your brain starts looking for evidence to support that belief. Confidence begins when you rewrite the script. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Replace "what if I fail" with "what if this works." Replace "I'm not good enough" with "I'm improving every day." Your life doesn't change when situations change. Your life changes when your story changes. And the moment you take control of that story, your confidence finally begins to rise. Confidence doesn't begin with massive achievements or life-changing breakthroughs. It begins with something much smaller, tiny victories that quietly reshape how you see yourself. These small wins are often so subtle that people overlook them, but they carry the power to rebuild a person's entire mindset. Imagine this. You wake up one morning feeling unmotivated. You don't want to exercise, don't want to work, don't want to face the day. But instead of giving in, you tell yourself, "I'll just do 5 minutes." You do those 5 minutes. That's a win. Not a big win, not something the world will applaud, but your mind notices it, and it counts. In the UK and the US, people chase big goals. New careers, promotions, side businesses, fitness transformations, better relationships. But the secret behind every major success story is a series of tiny, consistent wins that nobody sees. A confident person isn't someone who does everything perfectly. It's someone who collects small wins again and again until their brain starts believing, "I can do hard things." Small wins rewrite your identity. Wake up earlier than usual? Win. Speak up once during a meeting? Win. Say no when you usually say yes? Win. Try something new even if you feel scared? Win. These wins build evidence, and evidence builds belief. Your mind slowly shifts from, "I can't do this," to "maybe I can," and eventually to "I always find a way." The power of small wins is that they multiply. Each one creates a ripple effect. One good decision makes the next one easier. One act of courage gives birth to another. Soon, your actions start aligning with the person you want to become. Confidence isn't built in a single moment. It's built in hundreds of quiet, private victories. And the day you start celebrating those tiny wins, instead of waiting for something big, is the day your confidence finally begins to grow for real. Most people fear failure more than anything. They avoid it, hide from it, run from it, as if failing means they're not good enough. But here's the surprising truth. Failure builds confidence faster, deeper, and stronger than success ever will. Success feels good, yes, but success doesn't teach you how powerful you are. Failure does. Think about people you admire in the UK or US, entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, creators, speakers. Behind every confident public moment, there are countless private failures. Rejected applications, embarrassing mistakes, lost opportunities, uncomfortable lessons. What made them confident wasn't their wins. It was the fact that they learned they could survive losing. Failure shows you something success never can. You are stronger than the moment that tried to break you. Imagine you try something new. A business idea, a video, a relationship, a job interview, and it doesn't work. At first, you feel disappointed. But then you realize you didn't fall apart. You're still here. You can try again. You can adjust, grow, improve. That realization, that survival, that resilience, that's the birthplace of unshakable confidence. In Western cultures, people admire those who bounce back, but they rarely talk about what bouncing back actually means. It means embracing failure as part of the journey, not proof that you should stop. Every time you fail and continue, you send your brain a powerful message. I'm not defined by results. I'm defined by effort. Success builds ego. Failure builds character. Success feels comfortable. Failure teaches courage. Success is silent. Failure speaks, and its lessons are loud. The more you fail, the more you grow. The more you grow, the more confident you become. Confidence isn't created by staying safe. It's created by walking into the unknown, falling, standing up, and moving forward again. Your failures aren't your weaknesses. They're your training. Every person carries an identity, a mental image of who they believe they are. Some see themselves as strong, capable, disciplined. Others see themselves as shy, unprepared, or not good enough. And what's powerful and dangerous is that we don't act according to our goals. We act according to our identity. If your identity says, "I'm not confident," then even when opportunities appear, your actions will match that story. You'll hesitate. You'll hold back. You'll shrink. Not because you're weak, but because your identity hasn't caught up with your potential. But here's the truth most people don't know. Identity is not fixed. Identity is not permanent. Identity is rebuilt through consistent action, not wishful thinking. Imagine someone in the UK or US who wants to become fit, confident, or successful. They can daydream about it for years, but nothing changes. However, the moment they start taking action, small steps repeated daily, something incredible happens. Their brain starts updating the way it sees them. If you speak up once, you begin to see yourself as someone who can speak. If you try something new, you begin to see yourself as someone who's capable of growth. If you work on your goals consistently, you slowly transform into someone who doesn't quit. Action is identity's sculptor. The reason confident people seem different is because they've collected enough actions to rewrite their inner definition. They no longer see themselves as fearful, even if they still feel fear. They see themselves as someone who acts anyway. Your actions become your evidence. Your evidence becomes your identity. And your identity becomes your confidence. You don't need to wait for the right moment. You don't need to fix everything at once. You only need to take actions that match the person you want to become, and repeat them until your mind accepts the transformation. Confidence isn't about faking it. It's about proving it to yourself one action at a time. There comes a moment in everyone's life when confidence stops being something you try to build and becomes something you live. This is the final shift, the transformation where confidence is no longer a feeling, but a mindset, a habit, a part of your identity. This shift doesn't happen suddenly. It happens after countless small decisions that all lead to one powerful realization. I can handle whatever comes next. Becoming unstoppable isn't about being fearless. People in the UK, US, and across the world still feel fear, doubt, and pressure, even the most successful ones. What makes someone unstoppable is not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward while fear walks beside them. You become unstoppable the moment you stop negotiating with your goals. No more waiting for motivation. No more needing approval. No more asking permission from your doubts. Instead, you start acting from a place of clarity. You understand that confidence isn't something you hope for. It's something you create through choices. You realize that nobody is coming to save you, push you, or convince you. Your growth is your responsibility. And that realization is the strongest foundation confidence can ever have. The unstoppable version of you understands something vital. You don't need to feel confident to take the first step, but taking the first step is exactly what creates confidence. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow. Every failure becomes proof of your resilience. Every win becomes fuel for more action. Unstoppable people aren't perfect. They just refuse to stop. They refuse to let fear control them. They refuse to let their past define their future. They refuse to shrink when life demands expansion. And when you adopt this mindset, when you start acting with discipline, clarity, and courage, confidence stops being a goal. It becomes your default state. This is the final shift. A shift that turns self-doubt into self-belief. A shift that makes you